Hello and welcome to Note to File, a clinical research podcast.
A collection of interviews, candid commentary, and general nonsense for the clinical research community.
Check us out at notetofilepodcast.com.
And now, without further ado, on to the
show. Hey guys, it's another Note to File. How's it going, Denali?
It's going well, man. It's July already. So
it sure is, and it's very hot in Oklahoma.
It is unseasonably warm here, and I mean you guys are normally run hotter than I think we do up here, but like it's like 10 to 15 degrees above normal pretty consistently for the past couple of days. So we're like mid 90s and humid as fuck, and I'm clearly in a hoodie because my air conditioning is cranked super low. But well, outside, it's hot.
Fair enough. Today is July 2nd. It is World UFO Day.
Ooh.
What do you think? UFOs, real or fake?
So, well, I mean, what does UFO stand for? Unidentified flying object?
Mm-hmm. That.
Is that what this day is, or is it Alien Day? What specifically is this day getting at?
World UFO Day. If I click it, it's going to do the stupid thing it always
does. You get all the pop-ups and it yells at you.
This day commemorates the alleged 1947 Roswell incident and encourages global discussion about unidentified aerial phenomena, which I think is the new acronym now. Like,
okay, so not UFO.
UAP. Join the conversation, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I mean, I guess this must have been when the Roswell incident happened, 1947.
It seems pretty domestic to me. Doesn't seem particularly global.
Listen, it has the word world in it, so it must apply to the world.
Well, I don't know. Do you believe in aliens?
I mean, I don't know. You know, you get the whole, like, I get that it's weird to think it's like just us, but also where are they, you know?
Well, I mean, to be honest, like the universe, right? Massive. So like we haven't found them. Well, they haven't found us. I don't know. Like I tend to be of the camp, like it seems ridiculous to definitively say there aren't.
Yeah. I mean, that's
I'm agnostic on aliens. That's where
okay. I'll buy that. I would say that if I saw evidence that led me to believe, oh, wow, that's 100% alien life or whatever, then obviously I wouldn't deny it. But until then, it seems odd that we don't have any of that evidence yet.
So, but like we haven't even, I was watching.
But the government doesn't want you to know. That's what it is.
That's what it is. I was watching a documentary on this actually, and it was about how like it was drawing parallels between like finding aliens and like space exploration and under the sea exploration and like deep sea stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And how like they do, like people who are training to like explore space and stuff, well actually like there's a lot of parallels between like deep sea exploration. And that's the thing that gets me. It's like we haven't even found at our own planet like the depths of things. Like there's so many areas we haven't uncovered. And like I just saw it this morning, there's like a new species of chameleon that was discovered in Madagascar that's like the size of a sunflower seed or something. We just discovered it. So like we haven't discovered what's on our own planet, all it exists. So like it's certainly plausible that we wouldn't have seen in multiple other planets found other things.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I guess the question is though, like there are sightings and conspiracy theory. And the question is, are they here or have done anything to impact Earth or Earthlings or humans? Maybe not. I mean, again, I don't.
Agnostic.
Doesn't really matter. Okay, I'll buy that. All right, I'm moving on.
Next day, go.
Let's see what else we got. We have Made in the USA Day because it's almost America's birthday.
I mean, it's
and
kind
USA
of
won. USA won at the World Cup. USA. I was painted. I had my shirt off, painted my body like the American flag. And drank a 12-pack of Budweiser's American beer.
Didn't go with Bush?
No. They're not like all of them, or they're not all like owned by the same people now.
Yeah, and I think isn't their headquarters like technically in China or something? Okay, I
Probably
feel like
is
there was
probably
something
true.
like a while back, like some years back, where like those organizations, like the parent company, ends up like rolling up into a Chinese company or something. But I know it was a fun game. You watched it, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My daughter plays soccer, so I mean, never cared a single bit about soccer until she started playing. I mean, it's
So,
actually pretty fun. It's pretty fun to watch.
so you're like almost every other American right now who is all into
Yeah,
the
pretty
World
much.
Cup.
Like, don't give two shits about it until as soon as USA's out. I'll probably be like, don't care.
I mean, I was
That's not true though. I'll probably still watch.
yeah. Well, I mean, because it's hosted here though, and that's the other thing, right? Where
Yeah,
like it's
that's
hosted
true.
in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico this year. The thing I was thinking about yesterday when I was watching it, like how demoralizing it would it be to be the losing team and then have "Take Me Home, Country Roads" playing as you're like
Like in the background
adjusting,
with the tens of thousands
crying.
of USA people singing, and I mean that's like a soccer thing though, right? Like, isn't that always what happens? They like run down
Yeah,
to their
but in the
corner and do their chant
US,
or song or whatever.
but like in the US, soccer is tier 2, probably tier 3 sport, right? Like
Yeah,
we
that's fair.
like compared to like what we're into nationally, like football, basketball, hockey, all of those are like our sports. And these countries, like this is their sport. Football is their sport, right? And we're just kind of like, yeah, we'll do it. And I feel like that's similar with the Olympics, where it's like we get super into this thing and it's like, oh yeah, we don't actually really care, but we're just gonna do it and we expect to win it because we wanna and we're America.
Because America. Yeah, I mean that's all fair enough, and actually we'll
But
tie in nicely later when we talk about Operation Trailblazer.
there
But
you
we'll
go.
get to that later. So it's also National Disco Day, so that's fun. Put on your favorite disco record and
Yeah, it's not really a genre I ever
do
got
that.
into.
I
Or I
mean,
guess
yes,
is it
because you're
music
not.
or dance?
I
What's it
mean,
celebrating?
I embrace the infectious energy of the 1970s.
Oh,
Join us in celebrating the music, fashion, and culture.
okay. Hmm. Not gonna be celebrating that day.
Well, I mean, there's probably some pretty dope disco songs. You know, we need a note to file like public music playlist.
I was actually so just thinking about that when we were playing the Iron and Wine song. I was like, we could create a playlist off of our YouTube channel that links to all the songs we use as an intro.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Okay, we'll consider that. As if anyone cares, but it's okay.
it's the theme of this
We'll
podcast,
put some.
Brad. We
I
don't
mean,
do this.
that's true. That's true. But there, I would today. I'd put some disco songs on there. So,
Okay.
I think that's pretty much it. What else? I forgot day apparently is a day.
My son celebrates that every day.
Right, and some other ones in here. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, that's it. We'll stop there since we've already taken up a solid 10 minutes in talking about what day it is. This is why people tune in for the hard hitting.
I think so.
Tree.
All of the people tuning in.
All right. Well, let's dive in.
Cool.
We'll start
Okay.
with
So this one, I mean, I think it's interesting. And I'm always fascinated by like access to trials, participation in trials, and like why recruitment is such a challenge. And I think obviously protocol design is a piece of it. But I think this was interesting. There's an opinion piece that came out and talks about like why participants are like why people are or more likely not participating in trials. And it looks at with oncology patients, like 3 to 7%, depending on what you're looking at, participate in trials of oncology patients. And so then it tried to dig down and think about like, well, why? Because like over 70% of people say they would participate in trials, but so few do. So where are the gaps? And this really looks at like what's driving participation, and where it started looking at it and boiling it down to was that like economic band, household factors were more important than some other demographic information contributing, like race, ethnicity, some of that stuff, in determining if folks are going to participate in clinical trials. And what it gets at is it's not necessarily like the cost of, you don't have to pay to be in a trial, right? But it's just like expensive from a T&E perspective, from the time it takes, the people who are there, you have to get there, you have to take time off of work, or folks have to take time off of work to get you there. And so if you're less financially stable, potentially less likely to participate in trials, particularly really intensive ones that have a high burden level.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. I mean, I think it's something anyone who's worked at a site has definitely seen. I mean, if you have, generally speaking, if you have good insurance, and a lot of money, I feel like you are less likely to participate in a clinical trial. Now that can depend very much on the indication itself,
Right.
or any other number of things. Oncology is a weird one because honestly, if you're in a trial for, let's say, migraine, like if you come in, everything you do is free.
Right.
If you're an oncology trial, at least in my experience, which is admittedly limited, but probably working across 18, oncology trials in my time.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still basically doing just standard of care, which means you're paying for all of that stuff anyway. You might be getting an extra drug on top of, the standard of care. That's how I've seen a lot of them. A lot of them now are, I mean, it's not like a migraine trial where you can't give someone a placebo.
You're not doing a placebo-controlled oncology trial.
You're like, well, just, if you die of cancer, I guess that's just them's the breaks. But
it's a data point.
Yeah, right. So I feel like it's a little bit different world in oncology too, because you're still going to be paying out the ass for treatment regardless. And the question is, are you going to put yourself through extra to maybe like get a little bit of extra payment? You might make a couple $100 a visit or something like that. So I wonder if that skews things a little bit, like from the general clinical trial participation statistics. I still think, and they touch on it like very briefly, but I mean, and again, this will also kind of flow into the next conversation, but it's still, to me, more criteria is the biggest problem. It's not, do you have money or not?
Yeah. I mean, that is interesting because this particular article was specific to oncology and like cancer patients, which is an interesting point because it's like, yeah, come on trial, insurance, and you'd have to have insurance to pay for a big chunk of it, depending on, how the MCA shakes out, what you're going to be on the hook for. And if you don't have insurance, that's on you. Or if you have shitty insurance, that's on you. The other interesting thing here, specific with that in mind, is if you're going to a community center, and even if there's in your region a trial being run, your insurance may not cover for you to go to the hospital across the street where the trial is.
Right.
And so you could get standard of care at your community hospital where your insurance covers. But then if you have to go across town to get to do the trial, well, that's not, your insurance company doesn't cover that facility. So then even the standards of care things that you would have had covered at your community hospital are not covered anymore to go to that additional facility.
True.
And so,
again, I think the effect is even bigger in other therapeutic areas. And again, I think it depends. And I've seen it. IBD is an example that I think is closer to oncology. People are coming in who are like suffering. And if you're, defecating blood, you're like, shit, I want to start treatment, please. And if you have insurance, you're pretty much going to be like, no, give me drugs that work.
Yeah.
If you don't have insurance, great. Sure. Get me on a clinical trial. It's going to maybe take a little bit longer, but you might not be out any money. And I think the other one where it's a little bit different, like chronic pain trials, I've noticed, or don't seem to, I think if you're living with chronic pain, like that's, intractable, whatever you're taking is not working, then like you're going to try hard to be in a trial. But like dermatology is an example of the opposite. Again, like if you do psoriasis trials, atopic derm, whatever, Dupixent's been on the market forever. They're going to give it to you. It doesn't cost hardly that much anymore, I believe. So if you have insurance, what are you going to do?
But you're not going to do the trial.
No, you're just going to go get treated and walk out and go live your life. Like there's it's not a high enough of a burden on your daily life to be like, I need to try a trial. Again, maybe if you're on something that doesn't work, or if Dupixent doesn't work, but that usually is an exclusion if you've taken it. So
right. That's the other problem of recruitment. But I think it's interesting because oncology, though, is one where we arguably don't have, I mean, like some indications and some particular variations. We have treatments that work and people recover from cancer and, but I think it's one of the areas where we really don't have great, like, oh, here, this will take this and it will control it or it'll cure it or whatever. So like you'd think people would want to pursue that. But I also think there's a big piece of it that's not necessarily financial in an outright sense, but ties back to finances, where it's like, where are these trials taking place? Right? They're being taken place at like large academic organizations generally across the board. And a lot of the population, you can still get cancer in rural Oklahoma, right? Like, but you're just going to go to a cancer treatment center and do whatever they tell you. Like it's education and access to just the facilities that are doing the trials, let alone what it actually means to even run the trials. So like they're not being asked, they're not pursuing those trials because of just where you're at, and which also can be dictated, like where are you living, where are you seeking care, is gonna segment the population in some level by financials as well.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Again, I think where it's just always going to be hard. It's always going to be very challenging, and not maybe it should be. Again, that's part of the
the whole debate we have.
What's that?
It's a whole debate. I mean, like, same with protocol design. Like, is it this way by design, and is this appropriate? And is this like, yeah, it's hard, but maybe it's something that should be hard.
That's right.
Or are we making this harder than it needs to be?
Well, yeah. And like most things, I'm sure the truth is in the middle somewhere, but I don't think it's ever going to be easy, and really never necessarily should be. But,
right.
But there are people and government agencies trying to make clinical trials easier, which brings us to Operation Trailblazer. I've been saying it wrong the whole time. Wow.
I like the real-time realization that's happening here.
I didn't. Now I'm like, oh, what an idiot. Of course, it's Trailblazer. All right. Well, I guess I'm an idiot. So let me just take that in for a moment.
Well, this is something someone called out and said, like, hey, want to hear your opinion about it.
Yeah, and so I'll be the first to admit, like, I've heard a little bit about it. I've read little snippets. I think whoever tagged me posted like the whole, I don't even know what you call it, report or something. So I do want to read more into it. I want to talk a little bit about it now. And then sometime here in the next couple of weeks, we're having on Anthony Corso.
Anthony Corso. Yep. So he's VP of policy. Yeah. And he focuses on policy that associates with clinical trials and life sciences.
Good policy. It's good. It's in his title, so he should focus on that.
So he does a lot of work in the space with Operation Trailblazer, getting legislation. Trailblazer. See, now you got me messed up. Like legislation and working on the Hill with different representatives to try to advocate for clinical trials initiatives at the government level. Yeah. And it's through the public benefit mission at Viva too. So the concept is like not just for like lobbying for money's sake, which is oftentimes the association.
Yeah, everybody's lobbying.
So I'm excited. I know he's been doing a lot of work and reading through and analyzing this.
I've seen him posting about it as well. I'm interested. And again, if you don't know about it, it is a coordinated department-wide effort to strengthen America's leadership in clinical research, accelerate the development of life-saving treatments, and ensure that patients have access to the most innovative therapies in the world. Again, in my brief read through this, a lot of it seems to touch on especially early phase, phase 1, which again, for me, not that it's all about sites, but of course I, look at things through the perspective of site. We don't do a lot of phase 1, so doesn't necessarily strike me as, too impactful. But one thing it talks about is, qualified research institutions. it's one of the core pillars is that basically creating these QRIs,
Okay.
which are primarily, at least from my reading, academic medical centers and really big healthcare networks. And for them to help collaborate on like these phase ones, which, I don't know, we all know, academic medical centers, not, notoriously slow,
Well, and
notoriously hard to work with.
They're the ones who are probably doing a majority of phase one research today.
That's
like a lot
probably
of that's
true.
not
Yes.
in the
Yes.
community centers. Like it's just not. A lot of those aren't designed to be run at scale.
It's true.
In the community.
That's where I do think it would be interesting to see some focus, because I mean, we do know community sites, private site networks, even dedicated sites, whatever you want to call them, or all the variations thereof. They are extremely agile and very good at what they do. They enroll the crap out of these trials. So if anything, I think it'd be interesting if instead we saw a little more, investment or focus on getting or helping those sites be a bigger part of it. Again,
So
I get why
instead
they
of
do them, like academic
right.
medical centers, but
Mhm.
I think there's room for some of these community sites or even the site networks to get involved in this.
So it's basically saying like we know historically AMCs, hospitals, health systems have been the majority of sites running phase one trials generally. And it seems like the aim here is to work with those groups to make it more efficient. What you're saying is that maybe you make it more efficient by, instead of working with just those groups, you expand
Yeah.
the portfolio of sites running it with organizations that we know are more agile and efficient at times.
I think so. That's what I would like to see. And again, it's kind of they're kind of doing the opposite.
Okay,
And that's
so
just one thing that kind of jumped out. Again, I haven't gone too far down the rabbit hole on that, but
devil's advocate here though, like, is the
Yeah.
reason that they're efficient and more agile because they're not running trials like phase one trials? Like, is there something inherently with how we're designing phase one trials?
I would go out on a limb and guess, because I mean we do phase 2 and 3 trials that are also
Mhm.
done at academic medical centers, and if you go look, it's pretty much still always the private, independent site networks, whatever. Again, kind of grouping them all, but they're almost always beating the brakes off of these academic medical centers in terms of enrollment. You know, so I don't know. I mean, I could certainly, I get what you're saying, but I think that would just as likely trickle down into phase one as well.
And
That's
maybe this
again,
is my ignorance here. I don't work. I mean, phase one trials by design are less prevalent and like, but it's in the like, is recruitment as big of a problem for phase one as it is for the other ones that have higher ends that they're looking for? You know what I mean? Like the later phase, the bigger the population you're generally testing in. And so is recruitment less of a problem because the pool of participants is smaller? Like it's easier.
well, I mean, I think I get your question, but I mean, if
it wasn't super clear.
Well, I mean, are you saying that is recruitment really the issue when it comes to phase
With
one?
those
Is that what you're
trials. Yeah.
asking?
Yeah.
I have to think yes. Otherwise, why do they need help? I mean,
well, I'm thinking like the execution of it seems, I don't know. Is that because that's what they're focusing on, is the execution, right? Like in a lot of this stuff.
I mean, it seems like they're more, and this would be, and I'll say this across the whole thing, is I feel like what they're fixing or trying to fix is really paperwork problems, not patient problems. So,
right.
To me, it's not a,
okay.
They're kind of missing the forest for the trees a little bit, because again, I don't know. I will say I don't work on the front end administrative part, like from on the pharma side of things.
Right.
All I have is my experience, like from the site side, and knowing that, like, frankly, with even like the slightest bit of organization, it's not that hard for a site to get up and going through the paperwork. But we're not filing INDs, we're not doing that type of stuff. So it's a little bit different of a world, I guess. They talk a little bit too about like EHR and like flagging EHRs, which I still think is a almost pointless pursuit, and I think probably more technically challenging maybe even than people think, because I've worked in places that flag research patients, and you know how much shit a doctor has to click through already? Do you think they
Mm.
care? That pops up and they're like, move on. This is not helping. This is not contributing to their RVUs. It's not
Hmm.
helping them. There's no real incentive a lot of the times for the doctor to do anything about it. And again, I've worked in institutions that have had research arms for 2 decades, and I feel like half the doctors, they don't even know about it. Like, and that can't be isolated to places where I've heard of this happening. It gets
Right.
very challenging the bigger sprawl that some of these places have. So it's just not very organized. I don't know that it's going to have the type of impact. It's a good idea, and I understand why. But another automated pop up for a doctor who's already fatigued by clicking through all the EHR stuff that they
Yeah.
have to. Do you think that's going to move the needle significantly?
What I think would move the needle is making an actual comprehensive repository, like making ct.gov better. Because I think because that allows it for folks who are at least interested, and it gives us a workable source of truth or a usable source of truth, which I think is powerful. I think but to your point, like, and to what we talked about earlier on the pod, like this with like patients not participating in trials and doctors not even knowing that there's research happening at their own institutions, like there's no way for Dr. A to know Dr. B is running a trial unless they have some type of way to communicate that. So even if they're seeing a patient that could qualify, if it's not his patient or her patient, they're not going to refer them, right? Like it's just that it's so opaque as far as like who's running what trials are being run.
Yeah, and I don't know, there were some other things that jumped out a little bit. I think maybe on the positive side, some of the like anti-kickback safe harbor stuff where it may actually make it
solid
easier and like better, like in terms of, we want to, like, again, I've always fought for this, and I want to compensate. I want to reimburse, our participants as much as possible, frankly. But I don't know, you've seen conversations like on LinkedIn where people start talking about undue influence and all kinds of other things. And it seems like they're at least maybe considering some sort of framework for this, to where maybe sites would have a better idea of how to navigate this without it being a problem. So that could be a potential positive.
Yeah, and I think there's some legislation that's been going on for a while that's like finally actually making its way in, which around participant payments in general, as far as like some of the taxable components of it. So I think like putting some more structure around that in general and making it, you want to incent patients to participate, just like you want to pay your employees fair wages, right?
Yeah,
like
of course.
they're contributing their time and their bodies to science. So yes, you don't want to make it like ridiculous, but like it shouldn't be as hard as it is to actually allow people to participate. Like if they have to take time off work, if they have to travel, like maybe we should be considering that and not treating it like jury duty where you get $25 a day compensation for serving on a jury duty. Like that's what it feels like. It's like, why even send me the gift card? Just make me do it and don't pay me. Like this is ridiculous.
Yeah, and then you've got some other things that, I mean, we've talked about before, the move towards a single pivotal trial, which I'm admittedly a little torn on. I do think, obviously, whatever gets drugs approved faster in a safe manner is better. I do think like a core component of science is that there should be replicability, and we don't often have that. And I think you can go read literature that shows that like how much research is not replicable, which is probably not a good thing. I also think in terms of what it does for sites potentially is it becomes a much more competitive landscape potentially for trial sites, if you know that there's just one opportunity. Because even as it stands now, like if I get a trial from a sponsor, I know pretty damn well that in the same program I'm going to get more trials.
Yeah,
Now,
you get like the
that may
phase
not be a
3
thing.
that comes out. Yeah.
Or the phase 3, the confirmatory, the long-term outcomes, the different variations of that trial. Like I'm likely to, if I succeed, I'm likely to get. Which do those go away? Is that no longer a thing? That's going to be around. I don't know.
Well, and I guess the concern I would have is that we make this one trial, but then that just bloats that trial significantly So it's not having.
That's a good point. Yeah. I mean,
So
you
it's like
might
we
end
need
up
to get
with
all of our endpoints. I
well, you
need to
might
make
end up with
sure.
less
Right.
trials, but you might need twice as many sites because they're having to go. If they're in fairness, they're already hard, but now if they're even more stringent to make sure they get it right the first time, it's going to take even longer. It may require more trial sites. Yeah, I think that we don't yet know what sort of the downstream
Right.
effects of that could possibly be. There's talks about master protocols in there, which I think might be an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know enough, even after talking to thousands of people in this industry, like how some of this stuff actually happens in real life.
Yeah.
But you would think if we could stop reinventing the wheel every time, that would make life better. But at the end of the day, there's like anything, there seems to be some good and some bad in here. Some things
Mhm.
that I can't tell yet, but I still don't know that any of it really addresses. Again, it's mostly addressing
Administrative
paperwork.
work.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
fine. Still don't think it addresses the 80% of trials that don't enroll patients in time or whatever
Yeah.
statistic you're willing. And I especially don't love how it's couched as this like American exceptionalism thing, like good. I think this is all good, but like why don't make it like, well, we need to be better than China. Like okay, who cares? Like just if we do a really good job and make things better, then like we won't have to, I guess you don't have to worry as
Mhm.
much about competition, right? But I don't love how that is such a strong
Well,
point.
that's
But I guess
very on brand for this administration.
yes, I agree. I agree. And that
So
just
if you're going to try to get the concepts across, you're going to do something that appeals to the current folks in power, and that is it. But and to be fair, we see other countries doing this. I mean, the EU just launched legislation, policy, guidelines, whatever term it is, on like becoming more competitive in the global landscape. So I think like every country or region is doing things to make themselves more appealing and competitive. So I think there's some just sort of
but
natural.
it's also, is it not? I mean, you just came in and you cut research across thousands of institutions and grants, and you've
Yeah.
on the one hand, you want to cut the legs off of the people, and then on the other hand, you want to say, well, why don't people want to do research in America? Well, I don't know, man. Hard to imagine why that might be the case,
It's incredibly hypocritical, yes.
but
Um,
time will tell, I suppose.
but I also think a lot of this current administration tends to send mixed messages on things that are supported versus not.
No. Well, that's why I also wonder too. Like, look, we've gone through this on the show. There's years of guidance. There's all kinds of rhetoric about clinical trials, but how much of it actually translates into something that is real or that is practical or is pragmatic or that we even do? I
Yeah.
feel like very, very little of it, or much less than should, right? I mean, I've been posting guidance from 15 plus years ago that we still don't follow. So,
Yeah.
it's sort of a let's see. And you've already seen instances of drug companies doing things that the administration says is okay, and then to come back for the administration like, no, never mind, that doesn't work. We're not approving
Yeah.
because you didn't do it. And so again, like if there's no trust, are we even going to be able to accomplish or do any of this stuff?
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a combination of like trust and like aiming at the right problem, at the right target, right? Like,
I mean, this seems like classic, like top down
right.
stuff, and that's fine. I guess it's better than nothing. At least some eyes are getting on it.
Yes, that's true.
You know, something I guess is better than nothing, but color me skeptical. Hard to believe, but
I mean, it's to your point. Like we're talking about guidelines and things that have been around for a super long time, and a lot of things in here have like it's almost like the focus shouldn't be like creating things; it should be forcing adoption of the things we've already used. Where it's like, here's these guidelines, here's these things we have, USCDA, stand like all of these things like data standards and interoperability things and guidelines for how to conduct it. Like, we've done all of that. We don't need to
Yeah.
recreate it. We need folks to do it. So it's it should be an adoption initiative. But this is the same thing in any industry. Adoption is not sexy. It is not. It's not cool to be like, we got people to use it. It's cool to say, look at this new shiny thing I invented.
Yeah.
And so we
It's
keep
true.
creating shit that no one's using, when in reality we should be focusing on getting folks to use the things that have already been created.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I wonder what the world would look like if we just adopted what was already out there. I'm kind of curious to know like how much that would potentially have already improved things, you know?
Yeah. But then that's the other administrations who put that out there over the years. Was it Biden? Was it Obama? Was it Bush? It wasn't me. So I need to show that I'm doing something.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
Doesn't mean it's necessarily the wrong thing.
Well, time will tell, and we'll do a deeper dive once we have Anthony on in a couple of weeks from now.
Yeah, I think we're aiming towards the 16th. We haven't officially confirmed yet, but I think that's where we're aiming at. So in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn more and dig deeper again. I didn't go as far into it yet as I probably should. That's the thing, is like, I'm like, should I? How much of this really matters at the end of the day? Again, for me, it has a little impact, like on my day to day, you know, from what I do. So it's sort of like, it's interesting, but it's, you know, if I'm dealing with that, or a monitor who's, you know, giving protocol deviations to my coordinators, then, you know, it's not gonna be first in line.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, anything else?
No, that's all I got.
Okay. Well, I'll send you some disco songs later.
Perfect. I'll make a 4th of July disco playlist.
I mean,
just party all weekend.
That is as an American as you can get. So
yeah, I feel like disco is very Euro. Discotheque?
Yeah, but like disco as a
genre, yeah.
It's
very like 70s US.
Like, okay. I'll do some research. We'll talk about that, definitely, because that's
perfect.
That's hard hitting.
Incredibly relevant.
Hard hitting news. All right, guys. We will see you
Tuesday?
Next week. Have a good
4th
of July.
Be safe.
America. Thanks for listening to Note to File. We're committed to continuing to bring you independent and unfiltered coverage of the clinical trial industry.
We want to talk about what you want to hear. So if you have something on your mind, hit us up at notetofilepodcast.com.